Today, we're going to jump into a new trading platform, one of those international companies that has really kind of made waves across the industry in terms of the crypto space, and also kind of the expansion of where crypto and other mixed trading platforms are going today. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back here to Tech Path. As you guys know, we cover all things from the blockchain to also innovation in technology around EV, AI, autonomy. A lot of that forward-looking technology is really what we focus on here on the show. And I want to join, of course, with me today. I've got Lukas, who's coming over from Bitpanda. He's their Chief Product Officer. Great to have you on the show, Lukas.
Hi, Paul. Great to be here. Best greetings from Vienna, Austria.
Nice, great place out there. I've been there once, and a fantastic city. So interesting. Now, tell me a little bit about it. Are you guys core base in Vienna, or where's the largest contingent of the Bitpanda crew?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, yes, we are. We were founded in 2014 in Vienna, Austria, which is quite untypically because normally in Austria, yes, we have a couple of startups, but definitely not a fintech, which nowadays is worth more than $4 billion US. And if you look at our organization as of today, we have offices not just in Vienna, but around whole Europe, from London, Berlin, Amsterdam, Madrid, and also two tech hubs for software engineering and product teams in Barcelona and in Krakow. But the majority of our currently roughly 600 people is still based in Vienna, but the other ones, other office locations are catching up quite strongly.
Very cool. I'm always surprised. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but the amount of expansion and explosion in companies like yours in Europe, we've seen so much happening there, and also in Southeast Asia, a lot happening in the Asia, area as well, in terms of, at least in terms of blockchain technology and also the platform companies that are really developing. Tell me a little bit about your platform, Bitpanda. What countries are you available in? Give me kind of a bird's eye view of where Bitpanda is going.
Yeah, for sure. So Bitpanda, we're an all-in-one investment platform for retail customers, where retail users can invest on the one side in crypto assets, but also on the other side in other asset classes like precious metals or stocks and ETFs, and trade it all in one platform. We were coming from being a Bitcoin blockchain crypto-focused company. Why? Because our mission was always to make investing into Bitcoin as easy as possible and as accessible. And this evolved over time to not just Bitcoin, but all crypto assets. And since this year, we offer also other asset classes, because in the end, our USP, especially for a customer, is that we are fully secure, highly trusted and regulated in Europe by all different jurisdictions, the German financial market authority, the Austrian ones, and also others, as well as the third topic of being really simple and highly convenient, and that you can simply deposit money on Bitpanda and start investing instantly. And that's our USP, and this is also why we have nowadays roughly 3 million customers all over Europe who trust our service and use us on an everyday basis.
So here in the U.S., there are, we have kind of the Coinbase and the Robinhoods of the world, Voyager, of course, also to a certain extent. The difference is it's not a cross-trading platform in most cases on the crypto side. Robinhood's really the only one that has kind of bridged that gap. But even though with that, they don't have the digital wallet, they still have a very limited amount of coins. You guys kind of came the other route. You came from the crypto side and then started working into precious metals and stocks. So a little different, play on that. Tell me a little bit about how you stack up with some of the international platforms like, say, a Revolut or a Trade Republic, or maybe even an eToro on the crypto side. How would you shape up against those? Because I would think that's kind of your competition.
Yeah, I think the most important topic is to bear in mind that the European landscape for retail investors is, first of all, quite young and also not as evolved as in the US is, right? So in Europe, you have most of the time only local banks where you can still buy stocks or ETFs, or some online brokerage companies who evolved and were established in the years of 2000, but did not evolve technically further after 2010. So there's a huge playing field and a quite potential there in the whole European market to bring really retail investors and people who are interested in investing even but have not started yet to start investing. And for us, and this is the most important topic, we started with Bitcoin and blockchain and crypto assets because they're quite accessible. And this is also our USP, right? If you want to buy or if you want to get exposure into crypto and invest into it, you can buy fractions of it. You can buy it fractionally. And this is also what we enabled for stocks and ETFs, for example, and also for gold and precious metals, that you can already start with investing by €1, and therefore you can get exposure and build a diversified portfolio, for example, or simply try it out already with just little money, which is, if you compare that to other offerings in the market, which you mentioned, for example, definitely one of our largest USPs, that we are on the one side highly accessible, and on the other side have a really convenient platform where people can trade, doesn't matter if it's €1, €1,000, or €100,000.
Now, I read in some of the research when we looked around kind of getting you guys on the show here was that you've also kind of moved down the track of licensing the platform to either other banks, other trade organizations. How is that working? Have you been able to roll out any major partnerships there in Europe?
Yeah, for sure. What you're speaking about is our Bitpanda white label product. And what is it? First of all, it's a easy to use solution for partners like traditional banks, fintechs, or other online platforms, where they can easily take our API set and our backend to offer their customers easy to use trading functionality, which is our core product. For all asset classes. So it doesn't matter if it's crypto trading or on the other side also stocks and ETFs. Why did or how did we invent that? It's simply a lot of market demand, right? We had a lot of European players, large universal banks, or also quite large new banks of different markets approaching us and simply asking for how can they enable their customers to trade with our easiness and our simplicity. And we're currently shortly before launching the first partnership. We have not announced it yet, so I cannot speak about it today, unfortunately, but I would be quite happy to come back to you once this is announced in a way to then speak about that in more detail.
I want to get into, I think the partnerships are going to be huge, especially because we see that as a very defining difference here in the US in terms of the banks that we have not being able to really offer that up to the core base of customers, which is a very large base of customers. I mean, about 150 million customers here in the US alone, when you look at that. So I can imagine when you see the international banking opportunities there in Europe, that's going to be a huge opportunity for you guys. If you can lock in a couple of the key banks, it's going to be huge. And even if you could get into the trading organizations, a big deal for sure. Talk to me about how you guys make money, because I'm looking at, if you look at Revolut, I've done a lot of research on Revolut, a company that really has not been able to make any money. They've lost money over the past couple of years. You guys are almost an example, or I would say a direct competitor to Revolut. But at the same time, you guys are making money on the trade. How are you maintaining profitability here? How is that working for you?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, profitability was always from day one highly important for us, because we believe, and especially our three founders, Paul, Eric, and Christian, really believe that you can only build a sustainable and long-term growing business if you also take that into consideration compared to what you have nowadays in large VC-backed scale-ups, that they have a high burn rate, for example. So we are profitable since 2016, so shortly after our launch. And what is our business model in the end? We take a certain spread on top of the existing price if you buy, for example, Bitcoin on our platform. And on Bitcoin, our price is around about 1.49% if you want to buy it, which is definitely something where our users are completely fine with paying that, because they paid for the convenience, for the easiness of using our platform, and on the other side also on the transparency to be aware of that this is what they pay to get that asset. There are no other hidden fees, there are no fixed fees, there are no custody fees, there are no account maintenance fees, or there is also no paid order flow, for example, which if you look on the Robinhood example in the US was quite famous, I think in the first quarter this year, the discussion about paid order flow. This is definitely also nothing we do. We simply are highly transparent in regards to our customers, and they are quite happy to pay for the convenience, the security, and the trust factor.
Have you guys moved into any of the yield products? So we see a couple of companies like a Celsius, also European-based, but has activities here in the US. Obviously, a company like BlockFi here based in the US, and then maybe even a Voyager. Are you moving into yield products to where you would be able to offer yields for your customers?
So overall, definitely. We already started with having the first one, which is a reward program on our platform for our own customer loyalty program, our Bitpanda ecosystem token, where we offer a monthly based reward program. But this will also be extended to also the larger crypto assets, for example, which already offer a staking function, that this also can be easily done by the Bitpanda platform in the quite near future.
That'd be interesting to see, especially in those types of products, because if you see other global companies that are doing this, or at least trying to, Robinhood is one of the ones that I would say has the least amount of any activity in terms of yield. That's most likely going to change here on a global scale soon. So I could imagine this is going to be kind of moving in that direction for companies to stay competitive. All right, so let's talk about, you guys got a big pile of cash here. Tell me about what you're going to use it for. How quickly you're going to grow? Are you coming to the U.S.? What's the plan for Bitpanda on a global scale now?
Yeah, for sure. So for us, it was, as I said, always important to be profitable. Nevertheless, if you want to grow fast and if you want to really grow big, and we are very, very keen and aiming for providing our easy-to-use investment platform to all interested retail investors in the first phase in Europe, but also for sure long-term outside Europe. This is exactly what we are using the money for. We are building our teams, we are scaling our organization, and we are utilizing it for our growth in the end, to building a growth machine and to offer our service for regional markets and to make it also accessible for these markets. Because what you also have to bear in mind, for example, is that in Europe are several different currencies still. You have a large euro-based zone using the euro, but you have also other countries which have another currency. And to support that, for example, is also something which is highly needed from a product offering if you go into Eastern European markets, or if we even are stronger going into the UK. So that's the most important topic for us. It's growth capital.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. And I think solid growth, when you look at where the market's potentials are, Europe is most likely going to be, I would say right now, because China's stepping away from cryptocurrency, Europe could be really the number one, or maybe even, depending on where the US falls, the number two market of where we're going to see a lot of major adoption in the next few years. So you guys are priming at the right time, definitely coming to the market, I think, with the kind of growth opportunities perfectly timed with where we're going to see the market's kind of moving to. That being said, your CEO has gone on record saying, hey, listen, we're not necessarily interested in going IPO, the SPAC route, but he did mention that he liked the route that Wise took to market, which was a direct listing there on the London Stock Exchange. Does that give any indication that you guys are looking down the road at an IPO?
Currently, it's definitely not yet on our plan to do an IPO or any other larger case in that direction. But on the long run, as already also laid out, we are definitely looking into different models, what other large scale-ups did in the end, to also provide retail investors again, or other institutional investors, the direct possibility to invest into the company. So on the long run, we definitely will see. Currently, there are no concrete plans.
All right, that was a good sidestep. I like that one. All right, so let's get into this a little bit, and that is some of the product options, because in this market, and also I think on the global market, at least from our comments that come in on our show, is we get a lot of people who are moving toward platforms that offer credit or debit cards available. What is your position on the Bitpanda card?
Yeah, quite clear. So first of all, for us, the most important topic, if you speak about an investing platform, you have to deposit money on the platform, right? And then you invest into it, and then you get a gain out of it at a certain point in time. And the normal customer journey now would be how to spend that gain. You're selling part of the asset or the full asset, you withdraw it to your normal cash account. There you have your normal card, and then you can spend it at the grocery shop, for example. We simply want to shorten that route. And this is what the Bitpanda card is all about. You can not just have to sell the asset, you simply select with which asset you want to pay when you are the next time at the grocery store, for example. And at that point in time, we then pay the $30, for example, which your bill is, directly with a portion of your Bitcoin or a portion of a Tesla stock, and take care about the whole complexity in the background. Yeah.
So you're literally not requiring the transaction to take place. You're just leveraging it up against whatever stock or crypto holding that particular card has in it. So you don't have to hold USDC or hold a euro dollar. Okay, so okay.
You as a customer own Bitcoin, for example, and we sell a part of it, which is the $30 bill, for example, only at that point in time when you have to pay the merchant at the point of sale.
Interesting that. And I'm assuming, do you have fractional trading on stocks as well, or is it primarily just fractional trading on the cryptocurrency market?
No, absolutely. All our assets are always treated the same. So if you can buy with €1 a share of Bitcoin, you can also buy with €1 a certain amount of Amazon stock, for example, which is definitely more worth than €1 currently. So yes, fractional trading is what all our assets are providing on our platform.
How many token projects are currently on Bitpanda's platform today?
It's a good question. Definitely more than 60, but around about 62, I would say, but it really depends on the day. We are listing on a weekly basis currently and extending the offering ongoingly.
What's the process that you guys go through? Is it the traditional, audit process, or do you have something special where a token gets listed on the exchange?
Yeah, so we have an internal asset listing process, including an asset listing committee. And so it's classical research on the one side about the project, about the benefit of token, about the legitimacy, or also on the other side about the community size. Because there are definitely, as we all learned in the first half of this year, projects where, for example, there is no team or further technology behind, but simply the community is about to really want to invest, trade, or hold certain tokens. So there are several aspects we take care of, and this we also have not just for crypto, but also for all other asset classes we have on our platform to ensure that the customers, retail users who invest on our platform, always get a proper audited offering and not just a token which probably is not there anymore in a couple of weeks only.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, when you look at, and I think a lot of platforms, they really do their due diligence in terms of some projects, but at the same time, you also have meme projects, whether it's Shiba or you look at Doge, and those are just because there's such a demand from the public that you have to start to go into those kind of projects. So really, it's more on the consumer demand side of things. Loyalty is a big issue. We've got a couple of platforms now that are really moving heavy into the loyalty space because they do see the competitive waters starting to get very dense in the marketplace. Is that a big direction for your company?
So I would say in general, once we got a user on our platform, he's definitely staying quite loyal. Also, just to share that, our main acquisition channel is definitely still word of mouth. So people and users who are highly happy with our service and satisfied, simply telling their friends. Also through our Tell a Friend program, for example, where both sides can directly earn also out of that. And then these users also start. So what we definitely see is that the topic of loyalty, yes, we also have a customer loyalty program to simply appreciate the loyalty of customers, but nevertheless, we are growing strongly simply by happy users, satisfied users with our service, and also with our highly rated customer support.
Is there any way, when you look at international clients, obviously I'm assuming that this has to be an international bank account or a bank account in one of your sovereigns with an address, do you have any way of getting a US customer onboarded for Bitpanda?
A very good question. So first of all, no, unfortunately, currently not. We are not offering our services yet to US customers. What you have to have if you're on board with Bitpanda is simply to be resident in one of the European countries and some other additional selected countries outside of Europe. This is mainly due to, and I think that's the main factor also to be quite clear, regulatory reasons. What we are really good in is to comply with European regulation and with all European licenses, and therefore we are offering our service exactly there.
All right. Well, I know you're coming to the U.S. eventually, so you'll be here eventually. Any plans on when that might be?
No, nothing to share, I would say.
All right, not a problem. How do the fees work if I'm trading on Bitpanda today? Am I getting a zero fee option here, or is there slight fees? Where does a customer end up on fees?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, we are not charging any fixed fees. There is no custody fee, no account maintenance fee, or anything else. Or we are also not having any paid order flow system in the back where the customer has zero commission at the front and we then simply get kickback by any marketplace we have to prefer for that. So we are always trying to get the best price for our customers from all different liquidity pools and the different trading venues we are connected to. The customer simply pays a trade fee, right? It's a certain spread, 1.49%, for example, at Bitcoin, which you have to pay.
Whatever the spread is on that particular project or asset out there.
Exactly. It depends. Bitcoin is that.
Yeah. All right. So we've seen a lot of different platforms that offer this kind of the base level product, and then you've got Pro with Robinhood. It's Gold. With Coinbase, it's Pro. You've got all that. You guys have a Bitpanda Pro. What is it? What's the big benefit? If I'm a UK guy and I want to get on Bitpanda and I want to go to Bitpanda Pro, what am I going to get?
Yeah, for sure. So the big difference compared to our retail investment platform, Bitpanda, is that Bitpanda Pro is a pure crypto spot exchange built for institutional investors and professional traders. It's a real crypto exchange, having several trading pairs, offering all different types of API access for automated trading or trading strategies, for example, to deploy, but also a quite user-friendly front end, for sure, with much more complexity, with much more order types, where you can simply, for as said, advanced users, have a much for also a cheaper version to buy and sell crypto assets. And that's Bitpanda Pro.
I like it. I like the fact that you're going all in on that, because that to me is when you start to provide tools like that that are much more advanced for traders. I think it's especially for some of the more advanced traders, and it seems like if you look at the top, say, 10% of the market, very advanced traders. I know the circle that we're in terms of people we talk to here on the show, is we see just an amazing amount of people who are really starting to flex their muscles in terms of really understanding what's happening, with more advanced platforms. So I think that'll be a good market for you guys. Obviously, it's going to help you on your white label project for sure. Lukas, there's a lot going on right now, both from a legislative front here in the U.S. We've seen this abroad. How do you see this laying out in Europe for both legislation, especially on the crypto side? Obviously, traditional assets have kind of been governed for quite some time. What are your positions on where Bitpanda sees this moving in the next few years?
Yeah, for sure. So as you already stated, right, there is a lot of involvement and progress on the regulatory front, especially also in Europe, from a framework perspective. The current situation is that you have different jurisdictional in the end requirements based on each country. However, the European Union is strongly working on harmonizing that. And we are also highly looking forward for that. We really are eager to get more regulation into that space, because it will finally have a harmonized framework in Europe. It will make the life of our customers and also us much easier, because you then only have to obtain one license and handle one major authority compared to currently 27 different financial market authorities. Overall, we are thinking that regulatory requirements and licenses is a very good thing for crypto, because in the end it's adoption topic, and people only want or always want to trust if they go to an exchange, if they want to go to an investment platform. Being licensed under existing laws also helps extremely by building the trust.
Yeah, I think people now in the crypto community are definitely embracing legislation, as long as it's reasonable legislation that's using a little bit of understanding of really how the market works. The biggest problem we have, of course, that we've seen here already in the U.S. is lawmakers who don't understand necessarily how the platforms work, which then they end up with verbiage and/or language in these bills that typically are literally impossible to deal with, which we're definitely going to cover deeper on the show here. All right, so Lukas, I've got a couple of minutes here, and I just want to kind of hit on one last thing. If you look at the market where it is right now, and obviously we see crypto as a global platform, the market also, we're seeing in a very different, I say market meaning the traditional stock market, we're seeing also some very interesting movement there right now. When you guys look at this market, the stability and somewhat flexibility that we're seeing, especially in crypto and even now with the traditional stocks, where do you see this going by year end? Is this something that you guys feel are continuing to see adoption with new retail investors, people really moving into the market, or do you think we'll see a slowdown in terms of retail investment adoption?
From our perspective, and we're really strong on that, we will see even more retail adoption, especially in the European market. And this is also some historical reasons, right? Because Europeans are not that used to invest into capital markets in general, especially compared to the US citizens, for example. And therefore, Europe has a huge potential to exactly give people the ability to own their financial free, or to be financial free, and on the other side to own their financial life, right? And this is exactly what we are doing. We are giving them the chance to invest in whatever they believe with the lowest barriers possible. And from our perspective, this is not just applies for traditional stocks and ETFs and traditional assets, but especially also for crypto. We've seen a really strong adoption in the last 6 to 12 months, and this will increase even further with more regulation, with more traditional players, banks and other institutional players coming into the space, also bringing more and more trust, therefore, with it for retail customers to invest into crypto.
Yeah, I think the European Union is really in a good position now, especially they've already moved down the track of developing the digital Eurodollar, which is going to be, I think, a big element that would be, one, kind of at least getting a lot of the population there accustomed to digital currency and just in general digital assets. So I think that's going to be a good play for you guys. And the fact that we've seen regulation already coming out of Europe that seems to be a little bit more favorable. And then you have platforms like yourself that are starting to grow and get major investment. Europe could become a real huge zone for this type of activity from the retail investor, especially because you have, as you just explained, such a huge market that is really untapped there in that market. So that's going to be great for Bitpanda. I can't wait to see how you guys grow in the next few years. Maybe you will be the next Robinhood, most likely.
Yes, that's definitely the plan, I would say, right?
All right, Lukas. It was good having you on the show. Thank you so much for stopping in today. And of course, if you international viewers are here, you of course just go to Bitpanda. You'll be able to search them out there, and maybe there's something that you guys might be looking for, and hopefully Bitpanda can offer it for you. But Lukas, thanks again for stopping in, and can't wait to see how you guys are growing in the next few years.
Thank you very much for having me, Paul. Thanks.
Excellent. All right, you guys are listening in over on the podcast right now. Give us some kudos over there. We love to get your feedback. And of course, you're here on YouTube. Make sure and subscribe here to the show. And of course, if you have comments and you want us to cover more international topics, which we've been getting a lot of people from, I've just been surprised at the amount of people from Europe and also from Asia, especially some of the Singapore markets. We've seen a lot coming out of Japan. And I'm just amazed at the audience and where you guys are going with this. So it is truly a global audience here on TechPath. Thank you so much for what you guys are doing. Share this with a friend or a colleague that you have out there. If you guys want to reach me for a topic on a show, you can hit me up on Twitter @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.